Hey, Stay. How's it going?
Hi, Adam's going pretty well. Just came back from a little trip and now taking it easy and settling into work. How about you?
Uh, Pretty good. I was I was sick for like a week and a half, so I was kind of low energy for a bit there, but I feel like I'm starting to recuperate back to full strength again. I I never realized like how like just out of it and how little I want to do anything when I'm just like a little bit under the weather. Yeah, it makes me
Yeah.
appreciate being well that much more.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, same. And I was in the mountains with my wife and my kid. It was like our first vacation.
Aw.
And yeah, it was really nice. I mean, we were in the Alps, which are like very, very spectacular. We've been to Geneva and then to Chamonix in France because you can go by train from London. So we did that. But on the flip side, there were so many people coughing, and in the last day, both me and Jonah, my son, caught a fever. So yeah.
Mm. Oh man.
So I feel you on the getting better front because yeah, I'm just getting better as well, and yeah, don't want that. It was like very fast though, but I don't know what was so intense. I mean, I don't remember having like this intense of a fever, but
Yeah, and having being sick while traveling is one of the worst things. Just yeah, not being able to ever really relax.
yeah,
But
yeah, it was pretty intense, but yeah, it's good to be home.
that's good. Yeah, we were not going anywhere in March, and then in April we go to South Korea for 2 weeks. So I'm excited about that trip.
Yeah, that's gonna be like
That was
mm,
the
huge.
one we originally planned for March of 2020, and of course had to cancel that. So it's nice to finally be going on that trip.
Yeah, the backlog of many, many trips that have been canceled the past couple of years. I
Yeah,
have a couple of those myself.
yeah. So how was Chamonix and Geneva?
It was really nice. We didn't. It was one of those years. I don't know why. Maybe it's El Nino. Maybe it's something else. But there wasn't any snow in the Alps except on the higher altitudes. So Chamonix is at 1,000 meters, and you could see snow at around I think 1,500 or 2,000. But it was really hot. I mean, we didn't go there to ski because the baby he's not like ski ready yet. Well, I could try, but yeah, uh, yeah, it was really nice and sunny, and Geneva is really nice. It's like you can see the towering mountains, and it's really like nice settled city. I thought it would be boring for honestly, but it was like really nice. The scenery was nice, and having that view, I wouldn't mind like living in a city like that. So yeah,
Nice.
pretty damn good. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it like Mont Blanc, like the pen? That's like the mountain that you see from the city. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. You actually see the whole massive, all the like big peaks. I haven't seen that like ever. Yeah, I had monkeys back from growing up, but they were like half the size of these ones. These ones you can see, those really like straight edge cliffs. Haven't seen that ever. So yeah, pretty
Yeah,
pretty striking. Pretty amazed.
nice. And yeah,
Yeah.
sounds like a fun trip.
Yeah, it was. And I ate a schnitzel the size. I'm not kidding. I'm gonna post a picture on Discord. It was like this huge. It was like five normal schnitzels, uh, like, and it was like beef breaded schnitzel, and I ate all of that. I was pretty hungry, but yeah, that was a blanket of a schnitzel.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what I look forward to most whenever I travel is just like eating all the things from local restaurants. Because normally, like here, we we only eat out like once a week. Like every other meal we make ourselves. So
Yeah.
like normally when we eat out, it's a special occasion. Although we normally get enough to have leftovers a couple days after. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, but when we're traveling, like we might get a couple groceries for like breakfast and snacks, but we'll eat out quite a bit when we travel.
yeah,
How about
I
you?
love that about. I'm the same, and yeah, I love that about traveling. I mean, food is a big part of the whole thing, and both me and my wife like to seek out the places usually where there's specialty coffee, and nowadays there's lots of places where there's like good coffee, and yeah, places to eat. So yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. Food tourism,
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah, I should probably schedule like a food tour in South Korea. That's one of my favorite things that we've done on a couple trips. It's like, being taken around by a local to visit a bunch of spots, especially in like a really big city when you have so many options. It's harder to pick them out than a smaller town.
Yeah, and it's definitely the place to do that. I mean, one of the places, but definitely, lots of good stuff to eat there.
Yeah,
I know it from K drama. Lots of, but the food element is very present in everything.
that's true. Yeah. Well, other than that, what have you been up to on the hardcover front lately since recovering from the
Well,
trip?
yeah, it's been good. I mean, on and off. I've been like looking at stuff because right now we're planning a few things. We have the hardcover survey, and that's like yielded very interesting results from my perspective. Uh, we're at the place where we're figuring out what to build. So I'm trying to look into how to normalize parts of the site which are a bit off in my like to my designer eye, but also trying to reimagine some things. I think like after 2.5 years of building hardcover, I kind of get this feeling that it's just the moment where we started learning like what's there to learn about this niche. So it feels like we could like be building things from this point on with that knowledge, which no one has before. I mean, but I think this is the point after 2.5 years where everything starts clicking, and uh, you know there's reasons start popping up about why and how you're doing a certain thing, UI wise. I mean, like how to design it, how to lay it out, how are people gonna use it. Yeah, so been doing most of that, and bugs.
Yeah, I I've been very much focused on. I think the milestone I called it, bugs and time vampires. It's just like things that um, like just eat into our time and stop us from being able to do like all this new cool stuff that we are learning about from the survey and that we also just want to do. So yeah, I think like last 2 days I've closed like 12 bugs out of our 70. So it's like it's working its way down. And some of those
Nice.
70s are new features too. So they're not all bugs. But
Okay, that's good. That's good. Getting there.
yeah,
Maybe in a couple of weeks we'll actually like manage to wipe them all out. Uh, it's piling on, and it's important to do this like spring cleaning, I guess, which
yeah,
is cool because spring is literally like right around the corner. So it's a good time to do this. Else, we've got all these new features, but building them might lead to other bugs as well. So
yeah.
uh, we don't want that. Yeah. Plus, I
Th-
always feel like I have this guilt when I imagine someone spending 5 seconds more than they should on our website, just waiting like wasting those 5 seconds of their lives, or oh crap. This is because we didn't like place the button where it should be, or something's not. Yeah.
yeah. And one of those things that as we've like had more and more people join is so like when someone joins and maybe they become a librarian or they become a supporter, when they join Discord, there's never been a great way to like sync that status with Discord. uh, so I looked into how to do that a while back, and I was going to do it like as a separate app or like try to get like a whole flow for how it works. um, but I kind of finally figured out a good way to do it with our current setup. So it'll just go to hardcover.app. You'll like you basically it's right now it only works if it's only going to work if you're already logged into hardcover and then you go to Discord and you click a button. Ideally it would like take you to a login page and you would log in and do all that. But then after that, on the Discord side, it'll automatically give you a supporter role and a librarian role, and then it'll add you to those channels. So that'll prevent us from having to manually like or it'll prevent people when they join from having to ask for one, and two from us having to go in and add those roles manually. So I always prefer anything self-service. Even like at Costco, I use the self-service checkout line. So I'm I'm excited to be able to have people like actually do that on their own.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty nice, especially because we've been doing it manually up to this point. So yeah, a welcome change indeed.
Yeah,
I'm a big
and
fan of automations myself, and it's the age of automation, So we should be doing as many things as possible. Well, just streamlined.
and for the way that Discord um, like metadata works is like when you OAuth over to a site, that site can like give back a whole bunch of metadata about you, and the types of metadata that are supported number less than, number greater than, number equal, number not equal, date time less than, date time greater than, and then booleans. So it's basically numbers, dates, and booleans. So like we could have like a like the booleans for like is a librarian, is a supporter, maybe like join date for like hardcover members that have been around for a month or something like that in a channel just for them. We could have books read. um, we could even have like genres read, so we could have like fantasy 10 books, and then anyone who's read 10 fantasy books could join that channel. So there's like a bunch of things that we could do just based on data syncing and creating channels on Discord if we wanted to.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I mean, it compensates the fact that Discord is great for community and for people talking amongst themselves. And until we have discussions, which are kind of like a separate thing, it's not like we're expecting like social talk. I'd rather have like the social talk and the community and the
Mm,
random things on Discord, and the talk about books and themes on hardcover. That would, I think, take the load off the social part of the site, which I'm not sure it should be there in the first place.
yeah,
So
I'd agree with that.
yeah, yeah, this integration is like, I think, more than useful in the
Yeah,
future for like the community part and the management that we have to do in the background.
yeah. Um, I'm excited about it. Like, I feel like there's still so much we can do with Discord, but I have a feeling it has never been like a main priority. But this will at least like I think this will give us more time to figure out what our next big thing we want to do with it is.
Yeah, I was surprised to see we've got. I think almost 10% around. Like we have around 600 members on Discord, so it's a pretty big community that we've gathered here. So yeah, if we can do something with together with the people on here, it's very good. Um,
Yeah.
and How about the results from the state of hardcover survey? Should we look over those?
Yeah. I I don't want to share my screen for the actual tally survey because it
Uh
has all the
huh.
emails in it, but I did write kind of a blog post that's kind of a analysis of it. Um
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
so
could look over that. It's got some pretty interesting takeaways,
yeah.
which
So yeah, I guess as like a high level thing, like this survey was sent out to I want to say around 6,000 people on our email list. And of those, 88 people replied, 19 supporters, 69 free readers, according to their own uh, uh, answer to that question on the chart on the survey. And yeah, this like my hope with this survey was really to see like what are the major pain points with hardcover and kind of what are people's dreams for what it could become, like if they could have us go in any direction in the future, what would that direction look like? And not exactly specific features, but more like, um, is it going more towards social? Is it going more towards discovery? Is it more towards stats and analysis? So, kind of just getting a pulse from the community on those two things were kind of my biggest hopes from it. Did you have anything that you like were most curious about from this going in?
well, pretty much the same. Of course, also features because we had a place where you could rank features that you wanted, and there I was like a bit surprised about the results. But high level, I think that persona who uses hardcover and makes the most out of hardcover, and how each persona, how each reader in their way makes use of hardcover. I think yeah, that's uh, what I was after. So yeah, pretty much the same thing as you mentioned.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, we kind of going down some of these questions. 53 people, or about 60% of people, use hardcover a few times a week to daily. So that's like 40% use it less than once a week. Which yeah, that kind of fits with what I imagine. Like I kind of think of
Mm-hmm.
hardcover as being used when people start reading a book or finish reading a book, and if you're reading a book, you might not come back for a week.
Yeah, exactly. I was surprised that it's kind of like a pretty good sample size. I don't know. It's a survey that I think is pretty well reflected in. If we had 1 million users, I'd say it wouldn't like be much different.
Yeah. And then let's see. Most people are reading physical books and ebooks as their most read formats, with
Yeah.
15% with audiobooks, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought we would have more
Mm-hmm.
audiobook readers, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Same. Yeah. Ebooks is kind of like an outlier, and
Yeah.
yeah, kind of interesting to like talk about some ideas in this space.
Yeah, this makes me much more curious about ebook related integrations, like, syncing progress from Kindle, syncing notes from Kindle or other devices. Like if our top format that people read is ebooks, then how can we like support readers doing that even more than we currently do?
Yeah, exactly. And
Um,
even Kindle, look at this. It's like
yeah,
45%. Well, 39 responses. Yeah, I mentioned that they're using a Kindle, so it's physical books and that, and
yeah,
the others as well. I mean, most of the others, well, audiobooks on phone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Most people read like next time I'm gonna have to split these up better because like almost everyone replied that they read between 1 and 10 hours a week, which I had as two different categories of 1 to 5 and 6 to 10. But 1 and 5 and 6 to 10 were almost the same. So I kind of think of that as like 1 hour a day, give or take. And some days, like you're busy, so you don't get that 1 hour. And some people are able to do that every day,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good reading. I mean,
give or take.
tells us the
Yeah.
distribution. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and one thing kind of with the existing thing with not looking into new features, but like was this idea of like what problems do you run into as a reader in your like day-to-day reading life? And the top two, um, so we gave people like a list of maybe 8 or 10 options, and they could say like, I never run into this problem, I sometimes do, occasionally, often, or often. And of those, only two of them had people that were problems that people actually ran into. The other ones, people didn't feel like what were an overall problem to them as an aggregate group. People still ranked them, some people, but as an aggregate, only two of them stood out, and those were finding good personalized recommendations and deciding on which next book to read.
Yeah. So along the lines of tracking, this was, I mean, yeah, I guess predictable in a way because tracking is the main thing people are doing. Um, but the recommendations, yeah, that's pretty. It all boils down to deciding what book to read next, and since that's as we thought a really important decision because you're gonna spend some time reading a book. It's a big investment. I think it lines with that assumption that people are gonna use hardcover to do that. So if we save them time, if they find a book that's really good and they spend like as little time as possible finding it, yeah, I think that's our sweet spot. So it's still tracking after like all this time. It comes back to tracking and
Yeah.
to finding that book.
Yeah, it's funny because like both of these are really about like finding the next books to read. In
Yeah,
a way, they're
yeah.
both like, yeah, it's it's almost like, yeah, it's like they're just at different moments. Like personalized recommendations could be for my next book, or it could be for my book a month from now, or 6 months from
Hmm.
now, and next book is like the next one. So yeah, it's a lot of forward thought rather than like analysis of what they've already read, or um,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Although remembering takeaways from what you've read was the third one, which I'm excited that that one was that high at least.
Yeah, exactly. We know it's a problem.
Yeah.
And we're kind of working on a thing right now, which is the reading journal, which if it was lower, it would have like messed up our plans. So
Yeah.
it's
If
good that it's not.
yeah, if that one was last, I would have uh, had had some concerns with that.
Yeah, exactly.
um, and then let's see, we asked about what's most important to you in deciding what book to read next. And this was kind of me thinking that this one about deciding which book to read next might be high up, so I wanted to like get some info on that.
Hmm.
And the top ones were, yeah, friends suggestions, reviews and ratings, and just what they have access to.
Yeah. What's this access? I mean, is it like when you have a book in your library, or is it like stuff I can find at my local library? Uh,
Yeah, I
I'm
think it's,
wondering.
yeah, I wonder that too, because
I
I
mean, yeah.
like access to me would be like, what you have, what you own, what your friends own, what your library has, what your local bookstores have, what
Mm-hmm.
what you can get like downloaded from services that you actively use.
True. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's for people who borrow books as well, accessing the way that what's available to borrow.
Mm,
But
yeah.
yeah, that one was pretty high up.
Um, cool. So yeah, what should we work on next? Do you want to lead the conversation on this section?
Yeah, this was a really interesting one. So we gave people some options for some features that we're planning to see uh, what in this survey they consider most important to them. So based on those answers to tell us what's next on our list, because we got a bunch of things. We got discussions, we have the reading journal, we also had a dashboard, and this is because some people on Discord have mentioned a dashboard a couple of times, and when people mention things a couple of times, uh, it's usually a signal to us that ding ding ding, this is like something that might be like really the sample size of people who take the effort to go on Discord and tell us I want this. It's a pretty powerful signal, because it signals that some other people who didn't go through that process might also want it. So yeah, long story short, we built a design, an initial design for this dashboard, not knowing what the results of the hardcover survey would be. And well, believe it or not, the dashboard came in like the first feature people wanted for some reason. Um, yeah.
That was such a surprise to me. Like I like as we've been talking on Discord about this, we've been right now kind of the feed is like the home thing. Um and after using Hardcover's feed for the last year, because I think we launched it about a year ago,
Yeah.
I've definitely seen like there are parts of it that are useful, but parts of it where it's kind of like, I might scroll for a little bit and then I'll be done, and I don't feel like sometimes I've found a new book from it. Sometimes I might have just like liked some other people's activities and said, oh, that's cool. Maybe every once in a while I'll save a book as want to read that someone else is reading. But
Hmm.
the net impact of it, I feel like it's determined by the quality of my relationships with the people that are reading and how much I'm able to interact with those people, which right now is really just that like. So
Yeah.
the idea of doing something else as kind of a jumping off point to hardcover, like a dashboard, i'm I'm starting to better understand how that could fit in.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty weird, I guess, from some points of view, feature. You asked me, what problem does it solve, and the best answer I could come up with is better like access to parts of the site you want access to, and I guess control over that feeling of control over your data. And I mean, also like lately been thinking that it just might be nice, we kind of like have this want for a dashboard in our heads. I guess maybe it's from sci-fi movies or something, that it's like cool to see uh, some data related to an activity you love doing, uh, just there. And what's cool about that is that we can also include glimpses of the feed, glimpses of uh, certain stats or what you're reading. So it's like a very easy access part to the whole website, where we'll see what we will do, because we're at the point of deciding what should go on that dashboard. And by the way, we've got a survey, so if you want to fill in that survey. It's going out in the email Adam is sending, and it's in the blog post, or you can just tell us on Discord. But if you want something on the dashboard, please let us know. We have some ideas, but it would be useful. We'll probably like shuffle it. We'll have a first version, and depending on what you're gonna say, we'll change it to whatever's like most useful, and we'll see if and how customizable we'll make it. At first, probably it's gonna be like a set thing, but then maybe it will become something that you can customize. Um, so yeah, the dashboard, a pretty surprising one. And then what was the next one?
uh, Better book recommendations, which aligns with
Yeah,
the problem from the previous one. I don't think that's too much
yeah,
of a surprise.
yeah,
and
yeah.
and I,
It's
and that one feels like it's not just like, here's a recommendation engine that spits out, here's your number one recommendation. It's
yeah.
I think of it as like genre specific, similar to a book. uh, Maybe like, you've read a book and you really liked it, you're like, oh, I want more books like this. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like recommendations come in lots of different flavors. It could be what's popular, it could be what people in your local area find interesting or have rated highly. So there's a lot of different dimensions for that. So I'm curious to like check that one out more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That's like it has touch points across the website and across the whole experience and across like many moments when you're deciding what to read. So definitely we'll have to look into that. And then on number three, it's be notified of upcoming book releases, which is another interesting one because it
Yeah.
has a lot to do with our favorite thing, which is book data, and getting accurate book data. But I'm kind of excited about this one because many people are checking out new releases. So there's always like that hunt for sources, and I'd love for us to be like at least one source. Uh, I recently asked someone who has a book blog and has access to Waterstones and uh, mm, generally the books that are coming out. And they were saying that Amazon still has like the best recommendations engine for books that they wanna read. Although it was something related to Kindle, I'll have to look
Mm.
into that. So yeah, this one might be like a pretty big one for, especially for people who are like really into like the book industry, not just
Mhm.
people who are looking for, I don't know, a book to read in general, but people who are like hooked into book awards, into what authors are, I guess, up and coming or emerging and what they got out, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I One thing that I could see us doing is like we're planning on doing those like list updates where for every list of books we'll be able to do different kinds of things. So like, a, the books in a prompt are a list, the books that are trending are a list. And my hope would be that anytime there's a list of books, you would be able to do things like filter it by genre, filter it by your status of that book. um, I could see this upcoming book release thing being its own list, and then you could filter it. So you could say, which upcoming books are on my want to read list, which upcoming books are this genre, which ones uh, are, available as an audiobook, or um, things like that, or even like which ones are by, like, this is more future looking for features we don't have, but which ones are by authors I follow, which ones have the highest rating with my friends, or um, yeah, there's, I feel like upcoming book releases like that, with the ability to filter it down to what you're excited about from future stuff, could like really be something I haven't seen anywhere else.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds great. I'm wondering where, and how we'd get access to the data. I'm guessing, we could, we have our team of librarians, and it might be a good task to put together these. I guess, how would you see them? Would you see them as monthly lists? So would you see them as upcoming books for March, for April, or like in another format, just like a list that updates continuously?
I could see it as just a list that updates continuously, and maybe there are some like filters on it that you could use to say like, um, coming out next month, or like released
Mm,
last month. There's things like that, and that would just really just change the window that the books are filtered by. That would just be the UI around showing a list of those books. And
nice. Yeah, that sounds great.
yeah, yeah, I think I was talking with the person who runs bookhype.com, and she recommended like just reaching out to publishers and asking to get a feed of their books, and then ingesting those and then adding those to our libraries, and they're the ones who are most likely going to have the release dates that are correct. And so that's something I'm curious about trying, because I think we could get some like really accurate, up to date data from that.
Yeah, definitely. Let's make a note on that, and maybe send out emails to at least one publisher, maybe a bigger one, to see if we can get the release dates. That would be like really great to have that level of accuracy in the
Yeah,
data.
I think she said that some of the covers that they provide from the feed were like 15 megabytes big, because they're giving like the massive size cover that everywhere else you see is shrunk down.
Nice. Well, that wouldn't be a problem. Our problem was like low resolution. I'm not gonna complain if we get, well, maybe 50 megabytes is a bit much, but I guess we can compress it. I mean, I'd compress it manually. Heck.
Well, yeah, our image processor would automatically compress it, so we wouldn't even have to worry.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, like bring on the big sized covers. Yeah,
Yeah.
not afraid of those.
uh,
Okay, and then what do we have here on our list? Advanced stats and graphs. Well, yeah, I think this year maybe hopefully will be a good time to look into our stats pages as well. I really have some ideas how to make them both more simple and uh, to make them more engaging, I guess, for at least for like the simple stats, make them simpler, and the complex stats show them in a way that's more engaging, but at the same level of complexity. And
yeah.
maybe, yeah, maybe even see if we can add some more. Um, it would really be interesting, and maybe we can plan it in advance this year to see if we can do like the way we do the year hardcover year in books, to see if we can do everyone's year in books maybe in the same manner, so they can like
Yeah.
share it on social. That would be like really nice.
Hardcover wrapped.
Yeah, exactly, hardcover wrapped. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
could.
think I think
Yeah.
this is the year for that, and I think we could use a lot of the styles we use on the year in books, and
Hmm.
whatever other styles we update for this advanced stats part.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, that'd be really cool because yeah, the year in books like really good, did a good
Yeah,
do a good job with that. So
yeah,
taking from that and putting it at a personal level, I think that would be like really nice for the people using
yeah.
the library.
And then yeah, the last one is smart lists based on saved filters. So the example is like um, books with a status of want to read and a genre of fantasy, like things that you might filter for multiple times. And instead of having to go to your want to read list and filter it down, you would just be able to filter it down and save that, almost like a saved search.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be pretty neat. I mean, um, what would you say is the main desired action here? You'd want to see books that you want to read, but only fantasy books, right? That would be like the outcome you'd want to go for.
Yeah, I think it plays into this deciding on which book to read next. Like it helps with this
Mm.
problem. It's like um, maybe they maybe people find themselves doing that often, or even like um, creating a list like my 5-star reads that they can share out with people, or
Mm-hmm.
my favorite Brendan Sanderson books, and it's just like books by Brendan Sanderson that you've read and rated. So it's like I could see it both for discovery purposes as well as for like sharing interesting like things about yourself with other people.
Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be nice.
Yeah. But yeah, those were the top 5. And yeah, or were there any others that on here that surprised you that they weren't higher?
Well, we talked about finding real world book friends in your local area, but yeah, now that I think about it, that's like personally like not something very desirable. People might get the wrong idea. I mean, it invites all sorts of things which can potentially be, less than ideal. So now that I see it in last place, it kind of makes sense. Um, I think the gamification ones, which landed very low, mm, maybe kind of surprising, but given I mean, I'd read it as we really put some options there that people want, so that's good. The ones they want less, I mean, it's not like they hate it, but maybe they wouldn't imagine themselves. And come to think of it, I wouldn't imagine reading. I mean, you're not reading to read, you're reading to enjoy a story. You're not reading to like check 5 pages a day and say, okay, I've read that. uh,
Yeah.
so that idea of gamification is not the one I think we have for hardcover. So you're not like doing tricks like you're doing on Duolingo. You're not like supposed to just make this reading into a formal thing that you just do. We want you to enjoy books, to enjoy stories, to relate to authors, to relate to ideas, not just like I read 10 books. Come on, read another 10 books.
And but yet like that one, like we so yeah, there were 3 gamification related ones at the bottom 6: badges, reading streaks, and advanced goals. And
Yeah.
badges had 28 people, or yeah, it had a lot of people that were interested in it, but very few picked it as their like most interested. So it
Hmm.
it it was like it wasn't that people like weren't interested. I mean, a decent amount of people did say they weren't interested in some of them, but the
Yeah.
fact that like everything was kind of moved down one from a lot of the other ones, it's like it's not people's most important thing, but they're interested in it, but only after some of these other things are um, kind of solved for them, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of reading between the lines because I mean, badges in the reading world, definitely something that if we do right, it can be like a whimsical, really fun thing that no other app has, and if we do them like contextually, it can be like a thing in itself. We can like, I don't know, in the future have a special like author generated badges. Imagine like Brandon Sanderson, for example, like generating his own badges to give away to his fan base. We can do stuff like that, but you know, just saying badges, people are imagining all sorts of things. So yeah, it's good that they want. I mean, that level of interest at least tells us, okay, people are telling us, let's see what you can do. I guess I'm taking it in that way, but yeah, it's up to us to think like how to make it like really interesting. I think lots of like people's social networks, like Reddit, for example, uh, they did that in a way that's very good. You know, with the way they integrated the graphics and the way even or Discord. Discord is like the
Mm,
main example. They really like are masterfully like integrated the roles. They're not even badges, but the whole like
mm,
universe of made up things like nitro. What the hell is nitro? Well, they're selling nitro. I mean, they're boosting the servers.
yeah. One one of like a startup I used to work for, where we were doing like coding in the browser. We did we did two forms of, or like three forms of gamification, and I felt like of those three, like one of them worked really well. Like the three we did were, if you completed the course that we released every month, the next month you would get $5 off your next month. And I think in the end we realized that that decision cost us over $1 million. So
I'm not surprised.
so so
Wow.
that so that one, not a great idea.
Yeah.
um Next was, we had like, this idea of points, where like every time you completed a challenge you got a couple points, and we didn't really ever do anything with points, but they were just kind of a metric of like usage. So I feel like points in terms of gamification is very useless unless there's some incentive or some part that it comes into play. And then
Yeah.
we did badges, where at the end of every level and at the end of every course, you would earn a badge. And those were the things that people loved the most. And people shared those on social media, like left and right, because it was just a pretty badge. And I think, uh,
Yeah.
I think that's probably why like badges was the highest of the gamification ones that we had.
Yeah. Well, that sounds about right. I mean, people love badges. You know, that little like sense of achievement, it's like real, it's palpable, and you know, if you get something, you can finish a book and just say, I'm glad I finished this book. But if you get like a contextual badge about that book and related to that genre, I mean, it kind of like means more. Maybe it's a trick our brains play on us, but it definitely like you feel like just a little bit better. So yeah, if we can make badges, I mean, I'm hoping we can pull this off this year if things work our way a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I think those are kind of the highlights from the survey. Um, oh, I guess the next question, yeah, that was about the features, but the kind of
Yeah.
the other side of the feature question was like, if you could ask us to create or change one thing about hardcover, what would it be? And it was just an open-ended question. And yeah, the biggest three things were, 25% of people mentioned some kind of user interface improvements. That could be colors, design, just like making it easier to do something. Um, these these ones don't have like a single specific fix, but I think like the UX work that you're kind of already investigating will kind of focus on a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
13%. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that definitely, as we work on the library, I think there are less and less. There are maybe some few exceptions where we have some of the old UI, but right now, I think looking at what we did with the list, I think there's an opportunity to like make everything more integrated, because with the list designs that we worked on a few sessions ago, we found out that we can eliminate many of the buttons that are there and just integrate them better in the UI. So that's going to
Mhm.
improve, the overall experience. I think right now we kind of like know what has to be there, but it's a good time to prioritize what we know people use, and yeah, what people and readers actually make, like what makes their lives easier. So yeah, that's coming up next.
Yeah. And then 13% of people mentioned bugs and issues, with the biggest one being people mentioning the app specifically as opposed to the website.
Yeah.
And so I think for one, we've been like working on bugs. That's kind of been my focus. But we're also starting to start on a native iOS app. Still,
Yeah.
that'll be a big project, and we're probably a long ways from even starting on the actual code base for it. But I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I'm excited about that as well. I've been starting to read on the Apple interface and design guidelines. They got some pretty nifty stuff that we can use. And again, it's an opportunity to rethink the whole flow, knowing what we know. So I'm hoping, we'll design the app with this in mind, and then will at the same time update the site, so it's a unified experience, or at least after we do the iOS app. Plus everything is gonna feel like much smoother, because right now we've been trying to replicate some of the native functionality, and we we did like a really good job on some bits in the UI, but it's gonna be like way better compared to in the app compared to what we did. So yeah, that's good. Sorry, that was
Yeah,
my
I
kids.
was I've been learning some Swift, and I'll like learn something and realize like, oh, to do this in like JavaScript, I'd have to like import uh, like framer motion. I'd have to like do multiple things on multiple pages, and on Swift, it's like dot title or something.
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
and it's yeah, it's like the thing where like you have a title on a like you have a the nav bar, and then below that you have a title, and when you click on a button, the title goes up to the top. Like
Hmm.
that is just a setting on an element.
Yeah,
Doing that in the web world would be just a mess. Like
yeah,
so
yeah. I know. Yeah, it's hell.
so
It's
yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited about this one, and I feel like once we do it on iOS, then we can figure out how to do it on Android, or if we want to do native, or if we just want to improve some of um, the capacitor app. But that'll be
Hmm.
down the line after we like figure it all out on the iOS side.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can definitely do that. And the thing is, on iOS, we got one of the nastier bugs that's been like bugging us for months. So there's also that reason, which isn't happening elsewhere. Elsewhere, the app works fine, but there's like this insidious thing that's for some reason causing our app to crash on iOS for no reason. So having it natively, yeah, it's good for so many reasons. That's you know a real good reason for us to consider like pushing it.
Yeah. And yeah, lastly, 10% of people mentioned wanting more community focused features, whether that's discussions or comments or yeah, more social.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's like the need for expressing more than building their library, and that's also, I guess, coming soon, because when we'll have the journal, hopefully in the first half of this year, fingers crossed, uh, will you'll be able to save many things that are really similar to discussions, but not in that format.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess yeah, bugs, user interface, native iOS app. The dashboard is kind of a just a thrown in one at some point. Um, list normalization as kind of a subset of user interface normalization. I feel like those are kind of the top priorities right now. And then kind of a medium term one is more focus on book discovery when it comes to release notifications, recommendations, similar books, social books. I think I think this one's going to be more of a research topic for us to figure out like what do we do here because
Mm-hmm.
it's a big one.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
a big one. Exciting to tackle this one.
yeah. It feels like
It's
yeah. Last year we did some steps on it with like the trending page, which is like one of our first real attempts at like good book discovery. Like here's what's popular in
mm-hmm.
hardcover.
Yeah,
But
yeah, just like refining that, and then refining it again and again and again, like maybe like 3 steps of refining that, and it's gonna be in a good place.
yeah,
Just figuring out, where you'd want to see those books when you're like browsing through hardcover. I think that's gonna be important, and at least we know that's what people want. They
yeah,
want to discover books. I think we're doing a pretty good job right now at allowing them to do it on their own, but maybe this step is just making it more easier and more of a guided experience. I think the power users can plow through like a lot of information, just like you're doing now. You're jumping from book to book. That's a great way of discovering stuff. I do the same, but yeah, I realize that some people might need more of curated experience, and to have us guide the way first. So yeah, I guess
yeah,
that's next.
yeah. And
Nice.
in our next meeting will be, or not next hardcover live, but next team meeting, we'll be doing a brainstorming exercise around that I'm preparing now. So I'm excited to just like get a bunch of ideas from us around that, and yeah, we can go from there.
Yeah, that's gonna be nice. All
Yeah,
right. Well, I think that about wraps up the hardcover survey, state of hardcover survey overview. Well, hope everyone enjoyed that.
yeah. I'm excited to do this again in a year and just like compare this year's with next year's because I think like when we did this in 23, early 2023, we had like a lot of the other things that were brought up there were like around the book button and around like just general tracking and like dates
Yeah.
read and things like that, things that in the redesign last year we kind of helped
Yeah.
improve, and so those things weren't mentioned here which is good.
Must be doing something right.
Yeah,
Hopefully next year, they'll have other stuff, or maybe no stuff, or no, not no stuff, but other stuff.
yeah, yeah.
More
Like
important stuff.
last year I remember like missing covers was one of like the top ones, and now even
Yeah.
even though we haven't solved covers, we've gotten to the good enough point where it's not the major hurdle.
Yeah, we've come pretty far.
Yeah.
Well done, us. Awesome.
Cool.
Great.
Well,
Well, until next time, I
yeah.
guess.
Bye and talk
Yeah.
to you later.
Yeah. Everybody have a good one.
Have a
See
good
ya.
one.